So first things first, preparing for the demo, the consumables and the supplies that you should bring. One is the MVS Calibrator Plate. You need to have this. There's no way to use the software with the instrument without a calibrator plate. So calibrator plate comes in this silver case. The calibration needs to be performed prior to the demo and every 10 hours, essentially. So the calibrator plate is this. We'll see this, a picture of it in a bit. Essentially, it has cuvettes inside that are filled with the QualAssure solutions. This is used to tie the performance of the MVS wherever it's being used back to our reference laboratory. The calibration takes just a minute. This is something that you could do in front of a customer. I prefer to perform the instrument calibration ahead of time, whether it's a virtual demo or on site, just because it takes out a little bit of or a variable from the demo. If this doesn't pass, I have time to troubleshoot and maybe figure out, does it need to be cleaned? Did I do something wrong? Instead of having to figure that out in front of a prospective customer. Speaking of being clean, these cuvettes that you see, you want to avoid touching those. Very similar to the vials in the PCS. We don't want to get any fingerprints or smudges or debris on these cuvettes. The instrument's going to be looking through those, and we want them to be as clear as possible. Additionally, the reagents that you will bring, these are the required reagents. This is the least amount of supplies you can bring is baseline, diluent, and QualAssure A. The diluent is the blue dye part of our technology. The QualAssure A is going to be the red dye, and we'll talk about QualAssure solutions on the next slide, and then when we get into the demo as well. And then additionally, the verification plates. So we've got a bottle of baseline, looks like that. I've got the part numbers. We've got diluent, and then I have our QualAssure A is connected to the instrument over here. Plates, they come in a box of 25, so it looks like this. This is for the 96 well variety. Depending on what your prospective customer is doing, what they're looking for, the solution types that they may be interested in, you have options to bring to demonstrate. So we have 384 well verification plates. They may be interested in that type of testing. And then these other solutions as well. So the solution type, we have aqueous, DMSO, PCR mix, serum sub, and plas proxy. I'll talk about these in a little more detail a bit later in the presentation. And then the volume range. So our kind of default is using QualAssure A. So in a 96 well plate, this is good for 50 to 200 microliters. If the customer wants to see something else, we have this table here. You can kind of see what solution corresponds to that volume, and you can bring that and make that work for the customer, for the prospective customer, I should say. So handling these consumables, really a lot of the principles that we talked about yesterday with the PCS apply to the MVS solutions, the QualAssure solutions. Fresh is best. If you have a bottle that was half opened and you might have used it 3-4 months ago, maybe open a new bottle. Fresh is going to be best. We want to keep them stored, again, in the amber bottles. These are light sensitive. They are susceptible to evaporation. So only pouring out the amount that you need to use. You never want to pour solution back into those bottles. You don't want to reuse solution. It's not recommended. When you pour the solution out, you want to use that within 1 hour. We have these plastic reservoirs. We'll talk about this in a bit. But you're going to pour your solution out. You've got kind of a larger surface area on that reservoir. So the effects of evaporation are something to keep in mind. So again, if you pour solution out, you do a little bit of a demo, and then you go out to lunch. When you come back and the customer wants to try something out, or the prospect wants to try something out, pour fresh solution. That'll give you the best results. Storage, again, keep them in the bottles, tightly capped, out of light, and within the temperature range that's on the packaging. Frozen solutions, again, you can let them come to room temperature, thaw out, gently invert them, and then check for any particulates, and then they're good to use. Disposal, the aqueous, PCR mix, serum sub, and plas proxy solutions are non-hazardous. We have a non-hazardous statement if you need that before going on site or for a prospective customer. The DMSO solutions are not. They have specific handling requirements, and so you'll need to check wherever you are on what the correct process would be to dispose of those. And shelf life is anywhere from 12 to 24 months, depending on the solution. Some are 12 months, some are longer. All right, so back to the MVS calibrator plate. We've got the picture on the right there. You'll see there's a barcode on the plate. This has to come back to Westbrook, Maine annually for recertification. When it's recertified, they're checking the performance of those dies in the cuvettes, making sure they're still within spec. And then they encode the absorbance values from those cuvettes into the barcode. So when you scan the barcode on your MVS, wherever you are, you're matching that performance and tying it back to our laboratory. The calibrator plate, when you get it, will come inside a bag. I recommend keeping it inside the bag and then keeping it inside the case. These are robust, but they can get damaged if they're dropped or bumped or mishandled. So keeping them inside the case is going to keep them safe. Do not freeze or refrigerate the plate. If these plates are frozen, those cuvettes will crack. Once that happens, you can't do anything with that plate. It has to come back to us for repair. If you don't have a working calibrator plate, you can't calibrate the instrument, can't use the instrument, and your demo won't be as interesting for the prospect. So keep them out of freezing temperatures or refrigerated temperatures. Like the PCS system yesterday, we talked about transportation. If you're doing an on-site demo and you need to ship or you're driving with an MVS, make sure that we're not letting this freeze. If you're traveling by air, I've flown with these in my carry-on just to keep it from any temperatures where there might be an issue. The MVS is not susceptible to the same requirements, but again, you want to be able to have everything equilibrate before you start the demo. So recertification is done here at the Artel facility in Westbrook, Maine. You can contact that email address if you notice that your plate is coming up for expiration. And then shipping requirements. In order to prevent freeze damage, especially during winter time, we recommend shipping the plate overnight or as fast as possible and using the appropriate packaging. So when you receive a calibrator kit from us brand new, it'll come in this type of packaging. So there'll be a cardboard box, there'll be a blue foam insert. We'll have these Cool-It bricks. Basically, these are designed to freeze before the calibrator plate freezes. And then we'll have bubble wrap, the calibrator plate in the silver case, 2 additional Cool-It bricks on top, and then a black foam piece to secure everything. So that is the way it needs to be shipped back and forth. If you are shipping it to a prospect site, I would recommend shipping it this way with overnight shipping if possible. So some additional supplies that you'll want to bring. One is reservoirs. So we have these are just plastic reservoirs for pouring out the solution and then pipetting from them. Depending on what device you're going to be using, what the prospect will be using, they may have reservoirs for you to use if they're going to be testing it on their liquid handler. But it's nice to be able to have something to pour the solution into. Here I say that you need at least 3. So you'll have to pour the baseline solution, you'll pour diluent, and you'll pour your QualAssure solution. It could be A, it could be whatever you bring. So you'll need 3 reservoirs for those. These could be reused, similar to the aliquot vials, just to reduce waste. You could rinse it out and then maybe clean it with isopropyl alcohol, just so it's clean for the next time. Plate covers. So the plate cover goes on top of the verification plate. Not necessarily required. You could use like a Kim wipe or something to cover the plate. But if you're preparing plates before the demo starts, it may be a good idea to cover the plates to keep any dust or debris from going inside, to reduce the effects of light or evaporation. So having a couple plate covers is handy. A multi-channel pipette with tips. When we're doing the demo here in the building, we're typically using 100 microliters as our test volume. So having an appropriate manual or even electronic multi-channel pipette, depending on, again, what the prospect is going to be potentially using the MVS for. Maybe you're using their pipettes or maybe their ALH. Kind of depends. But you'll want to make sure you have this with you and you've got tips. If you're using a pipette, make sure you've calibrated it. Again, like the PCS, if you're doing an MVS demo, you have the calibration system with you, so you can calibrate your pipettes. Lint-free cloth or a Kim wipe. The verification plates are clear bottom, so the instrument's actually looking through these plates, and so we need to ensure that we have a clean, optically clear bottom of the plate. So any fingerprints, smudges, if you're eating that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you want to make sure the bottom of the plate is clean. So lint-free cloth. The plate reader has a lamp inside. This is illuminated. It's on whenever the plate reader is turned on. So if you're not using the plate reader, you're done for the demo for the day, go ahead and turn the plate reader off. That's going to extend the lamp life. I added this to the recommended supplies because it's nice to have a backup just in case, right? So the lamp life is 600 hours or 6 months of constant daily use. For demo instruments, they usually last longer than that because we're just using them maybe for 30 minutes or an hour at a time. But if the lamp does burn out or does start to fail, the instrument will throw an error and you won't be able to use it. So having a spare bulb or lamp is going to allow you to go ahead and change the bulb out if you do have that issue and then proceed with the demo. It's a user replaceable part. You just need a screwdriver. It comes with the instructions on how to replace it. So very simple to do.